Hello, everyone. Welcome to Elevating Your Life. We are going to have more fun today, just like always. I love it. I love it. I love the honor of interviewing so many amazing guests. Today, I'm going to share with you Kathryn Heaney. She is the author of the Anandrian Series. Here is one of the books. She taught for 23 years in a variety of locations in Canada before relocating back to her hometown of Hamilton, Ontario, where she worked for the Hamilton Public Library for 11 years. Since her retirement, Kathryn has volunteered as a dog walker for the SPCA, yay, and has fostered a dog guide pup for the Lions Foundation. Her first dog adoption happened through the SPCA, and the second adoption was Holly, the dog guide pup, who spent 2 years with her due to COVID's arrival. Usually dog guide pups only spend 1 year with their fosters. Major bonding happened between Holly and Kathryn due to Holly's extended stay, and Holly now enjoys all the privileges of being a pet and not a working dog. And a little about her series. The Anandrian Series is an adult fairy tale. It was born out of a chapter book written for Kathryn's 2 daughters many years ago. Her story was well received by those who read it, and she decided to write an adult version when a friend suggested the idea. Soon it morphed into a series, and no one was more surprised than Kathryn when she was called author. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, it is fun when you get that official, I'm a author. And I have to say, I love that you did the dog fostering. I'm a 4-dog mom. 2 I rescued from Mexico. 1 off the streets, 1 off a golf course. Took me a year to catch her, but I did. And she sleeps with me every night.
That's wonderful. Yes, Holly tries to push me off the bed every night.
Oh, that's so awesome. Well, Kathryn, welcome. So happy to have you here. Let's begin with, do you want to share any more of your background and then maybe kind of what inspired you to start writing?
Well, I never intended to be an author ever. I was actually a phys ed teacher when I started out, but I ended up having 2 girls, Laura and Diana, and this all started when Diana was in grade 1 and she couldn't go to sleep one night. So just off the top of my head, I told her a story about her where she found a door at the back of her closet that led to some stairs that went down, and there was a dragon's den beneath her closet. And so afterwards I said, hey, that wasn't bad. I typed it all up, stapled the pages together, gave it to her, and she immediately went to her big sister, Laura, and said, look what Mom did for me. And so then Laura came to me and went, well, where's my story? So I thought, all right, Laura's in grade 5. This has to be a chapter book, and she has to be the heroine. Yeah. So that's how it started.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And then it ended up becoming a series. So I'm guessing you were having some fun.
Well, it turned into a series because Diana went, Laura's book is thicker than my book. I want to be part of it too. And by that time I was reaching the end of the first book, and I thought, well, it's too late to put her in the story now. So we went on to a second book where she became one of Laura's fraternal twins, Diana and David. David is my husband's name.
Oh, I love it. Mine too.
So the second book was born.
Oh, how fun. So where did your ideas come from for what you wrote about? Where did you get that?
Oh my goodness. It was just, the first book needed the heroine, which was Laura. It needed a hero. So that was Veron, and Veron was a name that my husband made up just out of nowhere. And then we needed a bad guy. And I thought, who's more evil than Lucifer? And then, of course, he had to have his evil minions. So there was Demon Dientz, there were dragons, there were gargoyles, and gargoyles are people that Lucifer has captured and transformed into his slaves as gargoyles. And Laura, she has a magical healing touch, can heal people, but she can also transform the gargoyles back into human beings. So she helps keep the balance between good and evil. So that was sort of the start of the series. That was the beginning. And she had, unknown to me, Laura grew up to be a fine artist. She actually drew all the covers of the books. And
That is so awesome. I love that. I love that. I was so excited when I read that.
but at the time when I started off the story, I had no idea she was going to be an artist. And I had her paint a picture in the story, which when the last brush stroke went on, her hand went through and she got pulled into magical Anandria, where she discovered Lucifer was out to destroy her soul. And she had a husband she knew nothing about. So
Oh, now with writing the fiction like this, I mean, did you literally just, sit and think, okay, where are we going to go next? What's going to happen next? What was that like?
absolutely. I knew the story had to start where it had to start. And I knew at the end of the story, somehow Lucifer had to be put out of commission at the end of the book. And what happened in between, I had no idea. And so I would just start writing, and then I'd write myself into a corner. My characters are very demanding, They start saying things, you think, wait a minute, where'd that come from? And I get stuck every once in a while. So then we'd have a family meeting, or we'd be driving to my in-laws in the car, and I'd say, okay, I'm stuck, guys, let's do some brainstorming. So there was a lot of family involvement in the first book.
Oh, fun. I can't leave anyone out. Oh my goodness. So would you say after writing the first book and then going into a second, was it easier in the second because you've kind of taken all those first steps in the first, or was it a little more challenging? Okay, I've done all this. What should I do next?
Every book I wrote was a bit of a challenge. They were all unique. And as the story went on, the world kept expanding. When the characters kept expanding, the magic kept expanding, and I had to keep the rules of the magic straight in my head. There was a lot of cross-checking. Can she do this? I don't remember if I wrote that in or not. So, and my daughter, Laura, she became sort of my first main editor, and she would look for inconsistencies for me. So.
Oh, how wonderful to have had her. I love it. I love it. And, that's something that makes your books even more fun, is because they involved family members. It was just this kind of thing that we accomplished together. That is really fun.
Well, and as the stories went on, more family members and friends went, I want to be part of the story.
I can imagine. Yes.
So there were a lot of twists and turns that happened because I was adding in people. And in Magical Anandria, the meaning of your name enhances your powers.
Oh.
So, for instance, Diana, my youngest daughter, her name means moon goddess, divine one, deity of the hunt. So when the moon is up in Anandria, she's very powerful. David means beloved one. He became a great military leader that troops would follow anywhere. Then I got to things like my niece, Deborah. Her name means bee, like B-E-E, the insect. And I thought, what am I going to do with this one? So she has an affinity for bees and can talk to them. And bees make great spies.
I bet they do.
So it was very interesting working everyone in. And of course, as more things happened in the family, both the girls got married within a couple of years of each other. I thought, how do I work in the son-in-laws? So Michael and Paul became drinking and fighting buddies. And so they became part of the story as well. And when Holly was with me for 2 years, the two trainers I used to do Zoom meetings with, she was in the autism assistance program. They used to do Zoom meetings with me once a week for training purposes. And they also became fans of the series. And they went, we'd like to be in the book. So in the fourth book, my two trainers become dragon whisperers, and they help train the dragon Holly. By the way, both my dogs are dragons. My first SPCA rescue Daisy, who is the runt of the litter and a sweet disposition, and Holly.
Oh, I love it. So would you say, did you have a particular theme or message you wanted to give with the books, or was it just more entertainment? I just want to have fun and, you know, give the experience to people.
I wrote it strictly for entertainment. I mean, when I'm writing these, to be honest with you, I sit there and I daydream and come up with ideas, or I call my daughter and I say, hey, let's go for a dog walk, and we brainstorm on the dog walk. But it's really, I figure, a classic fairy tale, good versus evil. Evil always tries to get the upper hand. Sometimes it will, but good never gives up, and good keeps evil in check, so the universe isn't thrown into chaos. But it also shows that evil's always present. It's always lurking around, and we least expect it. You know, we have to be on guard. So that's sort of the theme.
Mm-hmm. 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 Was there a particular episode or, you know, scene or happening in the books that just really you loved more than others, or one that was more difficult than others? Did you have any of those types of challenges or excitements?
Oh, there's a couple of them I really like, but since the fourth book, that's the last book I wrote, is the freshest in my mind, so to speak. I have to admit, book 2, though, there was a battle scene I absolutely loved. It took a long time to write. There was a lot of choreographing that had to go on between the warriors and keep the magic straight. It turned out to be really spectacular, I think, in the second book. But I had an aha moment in the fourth book. That's Twisted Destiny. And I've talked about dark magic throughout the books, but I was writing about darkness, and I capitalized it. I put a D on it, and I went, oh my God, that's a noun. It's a tangible thing now. So darkness, it was a difficult scene to write, but it turned out really well. I went through a bunch of drafts on it. And darkness, you can see how insidious it is and how persuasive it can be, even to the purest souls, and how much a trickster it can make itself to deceive and tempt. And it took a lot of rewrites to get it chillingly right, as it's definitely a concept and not something tangible, but it's there. And that, I'm starting the 5th and final book of the series now, and it's all about darkness itself.
Wow. Wow. Is there any little snippet of that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, the darkness?
What we can look forward to in that book? I mean, what?
Oh, gee. Now that I didn't even think about.
Is it going to scare us a little, and then we're going to go, ah? Oh.
it's, I'm just trying, I'm looking through the book here, just trying to think where we have it. But, oh, but it deceives, I'll give you an idea. It deceives Laura. Laura is in a coma in the fourth book, through the whole book. But what we don't realize until towards the end is that darkness has invaded her consciousness, and she thinks she's lying in a meadow full of flowers. But if you take like an aerial shot down, she's really in a scene in blackness surrounding it, and the blackness is slowly moving in on her and engulfing the meadow.
Wow.
And yeah, it's and of course, once everything gets engulfed, she would die at that point. But I'm not saying whether she does or doesn't right now.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to wonder now. That happy ending is there.
Oh yes, yes. You have to have happy endings. I mean, there are a lot of cliffhangers in my book, but for the most part, there are happy endings. I think I only disappointed one of my fans when I killed a creature off.
That does happen in the movies. Oh,
it does. Well, and I knew between Paul and Michael, my son-in-laws, I knew that one of them had to die. And I picked Michael, and I was writing his death scene just as the real Michael walked through my front door. And I said,
oh my
Mike,
gosh.
I said, Mike, I'm in the process of killing you. And he went, no, you can't do that. He says, even in soap operas, they find a way to bring him back. You have to bring me back. So I will tell you, there is a way that he comes back into the story, but I won't say
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I know. I'm someone that, someone will get killed in a movie and I'm crying even though I know it's a movie. It didn't happen.
I love to read books, and I get totally caught up in books, and I've been known to sob over one or two of them myself.
Yeah.
But it's the same when you're writing the characters. You're thinking, I have to do this, but I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe how caught up I get in the characters themselves and their stories, and how you start rooting for them. You think, well, wait, but you got to throw a twist in there. You think, oh, gee.
What direction am I going to take them? I'm the one deciding their future in the book.
Oh,
that's a lot to take on. Yeah.
It is.
So do you have any advice for a listener that may be thinking, oh, I think I might write some fiction books? Would you have any thoughts on that you'd want to share?
I'd say just go for it. You don't know until you actually try. I never thought I would do this. And when I decided to publish it, I was publishing it for myself, for my girls, like, let's put it up on the mantle over the fireplace. I did it. Yay. This is great. And I thought it was okay until the girl who was editing it, she wrote back to me and she said, you need to start entering this into book fairs and book competitions and things. Because she said, I think you might have a good shot at this. And she said, and I will put an endorsement on the back of the first book for you. And I thought, oh my God, we're going commercial.
Nice.
So yeah, and she was a bestseller author on Amazon. And I thought, okay, well, let's do this thing then.
I love it. It was just, your creation and let your creation, just share so much with people, the fun, the suspense, the creativity. And I just totally think it's so fantastic that you had, so much family involved and people, and, had them work into the characters. How fun is that?
It is. And at the back of every book, hang on, the back of every book, I put a list of names, their meanings, how they're related or not related to me, and why I use them in the story. So
Great idea. I love that. I love that. And so the book you're working on now, or you're finishing up, is the 5th book of the series and the final?
5th and final one. It'll be Dark Destiny.
Wow, that's going to be so cool. That's going to be so cool. Where can kind of share with everybody any information you want to give them, where they can get copies of the books and all of that?
You can find the books on almost any online platform. They're in ebook format and in softcover. So Amazon, I don't think you have chapters in Indigo in the States, but in Canada we do. There's Barnes and Noble, Apple Play. I don't know. I'm not positive on my terms there because I leave that mainly up to my daughter, who's more digitally friendly.
Isn't it wonderful having them in our lives? And I have to ask, how did you come up with, what drew you to, it was basically Earth and it was Anandrian, Andrea, the location. What brought you to that?
Well, to start with, I wanted my daughter to be able to relate to it because I was writing it for her. It was her story. So we had to go from Earth, and I wanted magic involved. So we needed another dimension that she could go to. So, and as it morphed into the adult series, I figured it would, people could relate because it goes back and forth between the 2 dimensions. And I think I've successfully done this. And it also, as I got deeper into the story and there were more mythological creatures aside from dragons and gargoyles, we've got dwarves and fairies and nymphs and wood sprites and all kinds of things. It, in a fictional way, provides answers as to why so many cultures have dragons and gargoyles and fairies and things in their mythology, because in the past, there were breaches between the dimensions of Earth, and people were exposed to the mythical creatures of Anandria.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. What a great adventure. How fun. And look at this, 5 books.
Yeah, I know. I was expecting 2 to come out of this. But after I finished the second one, I thought, well, heck, I need to be a character in it too. So I became one of Laura's grandchildren.
Fun, how fun. That just makes you realize how awesome our imagination is. And what we can create. We all have that in us.
Oh, we do. We do.
How and I fun with it.
I see it as a movie in my head as I'm writing it. And it's just really fun to do.
Yes, I love it.
Since I'm retired, it gives me lots to do too.
Yeah. Oh, it is so fun. I know when I wrote my book, my Why Am I So Happy book, that was basically themed on, I'd been asked that my whole life. And it was like, okay, I'm going to answer it. I'm going to talk about what I've been through in life and, think perspectives and things, so it's really fascinates me. Every author, what instigates them writing a book and what they, choose to put out there and what it means to them. And you having so many family and others involved, that is really fun. I just really got a kick out of that.
Well, the family and friends have been sort of saying, so what happens when you end the series?
Yeah. Will there be more?
Well, somebody said you need to write a prequel. So that might be in the works. I don't know. But both my girls, I lost my husband to cancer 20 years ago. And both my girls were little then. And they said, Mom, you kept journals through that whole thing. we'd like you to write a memoir because we don't know what really went on behind the scenes. So I think that might be the next project.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Bless your heart. You are so awesome. Oh, I'm so happy to meet you.
Oh, it's lovely to meet you as well.
Gosh. And so everybody, just a reminder, it's called the Anandrian Series, and it's Kathryn Heaney, Heney. You can get the books on Amazon. And, we may have to get together again after this last, book comes out. And
That
it's
would be great.
real fun how Kathy and I met. Connected. But it's, what's meant to be is meant to be. And I'm really grateful. So I'm just so happy to have had you on the show. Any last words, Kathryn, before we say goodbye?
It's just been a real pleasure meeting you and being on the show with you. And I appreciate the time and the questions. And just in case you're wondering what book number 1 is, it is Destiny Calls. And that artwork is done by my daughter, Laura Heany.
So awesome. That is so awesome. I love it. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Love, hugs, and blessings. Kathryn, love, hugs, and blessings. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.